This is That Talking Podcast. I'm JJ Starr.
And I'm Downtown Andy.
Welcome, welcome. We're here to talk and bring a little civil discourse to an otherwise discordant world. And how are you?
I'm a little drained, you know.
Yeah.
We usually save recording for the end of the day, so by then, you know, we've spent all our energy.
we spent
did some
a lot
things
of,
today.
We did some shit today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's another hot one, so.
It is. And it's just getting, oh God, is summer over? I'm so done. I'm so done with it. Ugh.
You know, we never ask them how they are. Audience out
How
there
are
in
you?
Viewerland, how are you?
How are you?
Look, I'm breaking the fourth wall. How are you? Call in, tell us.
Oh, man. Well, all right. Before we get into it, right, we have rules.
Yeah.
3 simple rules for the sake of civility. No judgment, nothing personal, and don't be a dick.
You got it. You got it. You're getting it, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about?
So we got a growing list of things.
We do.
Yeah. This sweet new revolver cylinder. I don't know if the camera's picking up that
It's
my wife
so-
got me
yeah.
for. This is for Father's Day, right?
It was
Yeah.
for Father's Day, yes.
And
I just
which-
thought it would be something chintz but cute that you might find amusing.
And what you don't know is that there are dice in here in the shape of bullets. I
I
think all kids like bullets.
I thought you would like it.
Well, that's how we're gonna pick the topic today.
All right.
So-
I have a list.
I think you said there were 6 options on there.
There's 5
There's
that
5.
I have. 6 if you want to include the fact that we just watched the
Yeah.
docuseries.
Yeah. All right,
So
so
we'll go
I'm
with
gonna
6.
take all the other ones.
You can dump your bullets.
Okay, so because those are all varying amounts of sides,
Right.
So okay, this is a 6-sided bullet, if you will.
6-sided bullet.
I'm gonna play a little Russian roulette with today's topic.
What do you got?
Number 1.
Oh, number 1?
Whatever's number 1 on your list.
All right.
It says number 1.
Now, mind you, I texted this to myself probably like 2 weeks ago.
This is fun. This
Yeah.
is going to be fun. This is like that suggestion I tried to make earlier. It's like, what do you want to do today? I was like, you know what? Just for the sake of entertainment, why don't we go to the mall and we'll each pick a side or a floor and we'll go see how many job applications we can collect and see how many callbacks we get. And then, whoever gets the most wins. I don't know.
I would have just given you that win, baby.
I was just looking for another excuse to go to the mall.
All right. So I'm not exactly sure how this popped into my head.
Okay.
Actually, that's not true. I probably know exactly how this popped into my head because they are officially making, right, the next Spaceballs movie.
Oh, boy.
Hooray! And meanwhile, what? Yesterday, happy 99th birthday to Mel Brooks, the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah. And it gets me thinking because, we've talked...
The Schwanzenator.
We've talked a lot about, the idea of... maybe not necessarily on the podcast, but you and I personally. We've talked a lot about, that, like, the hypersensitivity and the walking on eggshells that people have to do nowadays and everything. And it really does sort of make you start to wonder, how are they going to make a Mel Brooks movie in 2027? Not even talking about 2025.
But
it's coming out in
How are
2
they
more
going to
years.
release a Mel Brooks movie? They're making it right now or next year. So
Seriously, though.
But he's not the only one that people have had this discussion about. There have been so many memes on various social media sites where people have said, this movie would not be allowed in today's climate.
Well, we watch fucking
This would not go over well.
And DuckTales episodes on Disney Plus has a fucking disclaimer that
Does
says
it?
It does. Certain episodes.
I don't think I noticed that.
That's like, this was a product of its time.
Well, that's what
Please
Disney's
don't
been doing
cancel
for the last
us.
6 years.
It's bonkers.
Every original Disney animation movie from the 40s, 50s, 60s all have those disclaimers now about, not to disparage Native Americans.
Well, it really does make me pleased to have lived in a time
where this was okay.
No, to have lived. Well, yes.
Where people had sense
what
of
I was
humor.
going to say was to have lived in a time when SR-71's single "Politically Correct" came out. It makes me happy to know that I lived when that song was a thing because it's still like an anthem in my head.
I don't think I know that one.
Oh, that's a damn shame because I'm going to have to force you to listen to it again and again and again.
Great.
And again. Well, you remember SR-71, don't you?
No, I don't.
They sang that Right Now song.
Wasn't that Van Halen?
No, well,
There's-
maybe, but not the one I'm thinking of. But anyway,
Anyway.
like they have a whole line in that song about how, like, it's basically about how everyone is leaning one way or the other, but you can't see what's actually in front of you because you're leaning around it.
Well,
And then they actually mention, like, how could you make a Mel Brooks movie today?
like we've talked at nauseum about people's sensibilities or lack thereof,
Yeah.
or how easily triggered people are by certain things, and it's just like, maybe throughout all of human history there was always some degree of offense taken, but people were mature enough to realize that jokes are just jokes. Like, I can tell you right now, as an Italian, like, nobody's ever called me a guinea or a wop or anything like that, and had me be like vigorously offended.
So I think about the Mel Brooks repertoire, right? And the certain aspects of it that would probably seem, dated for lack of a more diplomatic.
He pushed the
term.
envelope.
Oh my God! Of course he did.
For the Gen Z, yeah, the millennial, not the millennials.
No, not the millennials. Yeah,
but the Gen Zers and Gen Alphas. He was. I don't want to say he was brutal. He was very, very liberal with his choice in
it's difficult
dialogue.
It's difficult to be a satirist. I think that's just
because you're walking a fine line.
You are walking a very fine line.
Well, for those,
but that is in and of itself, the face value of art.
Well, for those who don't know, okay, for those too young to have seen or know anything about Mel Brooks,
or too young for it to be appropriate,
is a writer, director, actor who has released some of the most entertaining movies of the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
And to an extent also, because of the satire involved, thought-provoking to an extent. Right?
Like,
I would say so.
He's one of those movie makers
if you're out there, call me.
Where people have said to me, how have you not seen this? Yeah. How have you lived this long and not seen this movie? First of being, I think, Young Frankenstein. I think I saw Young Frankenstein for the first time when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
They brought it in on like one of the last days of schools, and like we're going to sit around and watch this.
At Catholic school.
And I laughed my ass off, and I'm like,
fucking funny.
And I would go back to rewatch it. I remember seeing Blazing Saddles when I was definitely not age appropriate and certainly not old enough to understand the jokes or appreciate anything about it.
I was in high school. Blazing Saddles was actually the second movie that I had seen of Mel Brooks in high school. Before that, I had seen, like, in real time, I had seen Men in Tights, right? Which is
that one of his?
It is. Okay. It's raunchy, I would say, but it's not offensive.
Now, I'd been a fly on the wall for things like Spaceballs and History of the World. Yep. So, again, because I grew up the youngest in my family. So inappropriate movies from my demographic were being played, assuming that I wasn't paying attention anyway. But, my brothers and my dad would always be like, you've seen this, you've seen that. I'm like, I've been in the room, but I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And so by the time I had actually gone to see them as an adult, trying to pay attention, like, it kind of lost its luster because it's like, maybe if I had seen it at a more impressionable age.
Like, I had seen Men in Tights. My mom took me to see Dracula Dead and Loving It in theaters.
I saw that in theater,
theaters. And then I'd probably seen Spaceballs like a couple of times, but I mean, at a young enough age that I didn't necessarily get it. Enter high school, and my boyfriend at the time loved Mel Brooks movies and was like, how can you never have seen History of the World Part 1? Shows it to me, and I'm like, oh, I can tell you exactly why I've never seen this movie, because I don't think my mommy and daddy would have let me watch it.
See, now, I didn't see it until we started dating.
After that was when I saw Blazing Saddles and was like, and I I was mortified because all I was thinking was, my parents have watched this movie. And I was like, I'm like, to think that I could have been in the room watching this movie with my parents. And I'm just like, but I mean, you think about it and it's like, you talk about pushing the envelope. I mean, for a number of reasons, right? And the list goes on. But now they're coming out with The Schwartz Awakens, which I'm super stoked on. I can't fucking wait. I'm so excited. When Hulu put out History of the World Part 2, I was like, okay, I'm ready. This is going to be funny. But it was tame.
Compared to,
it was so tame. It wasn't unentertaining, but like it was so tame.
You could tell they were holding back.
Yeah. So I think I'm very curious to see what they do with this, because Spaceballs in the repertoire of big Mel Brooks productions is also pretty tame.
I don't think at this point in his career anybody's going to be, trying to cancel him.
I defy a single human being to try, because you talk about the genius behind an art form, and I immediately think Mel Brooks. Now, what really sparked my interest, what really piqued me on this particular topic, was a couple of weeks ago, you and I were watching Some Like It Hot.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole bunch of boobies. There was girls running around in their underwear. Think of the Benny Hill show.
That was the one with Jack Lemmon. Yep. When they played the women and they were on the bus and everything. Okay, yeah.
And Marilyn Monroe, and they're making, sideways comments about, sleeping with girls and everything, and girls sleeping
because
with
again,
guys,
it was all in jest and people had a sense of humor.
But this is what I'm saying is, we talk about how movies can be triggering and insensitive and all of these things, but like, we're not making anything these days like, you look at that, think of like, the white picket fence, idyllic picture of the 1950s, right? That we were all sold.
People are triggered by that now.
But you think about that, right? This idea of entering into a period of censorship for the sake of family values, specifically. And yet old Hollywood has not a single problem with the idea of making sex jokes and, showing day drinking and, all of this stuff. People,
all of the tenets of free speech.
And that's what I'm saying, is that we are so hyped up on, we're so hyped up on.
Who's we? Who is we?
We en masse. We the people. The royal we. Right? We're so hopped up on leaning one way or the other that we're not seeing what's right in front of us. And it's like, to think that, that an entire coalition was set up with the sole purpose of censoring funny books, right? And yet you can go back and you can watch old Hollywood, it's like, and all of these tropes, these standard tropes in old Hollywood, and especially old Hollywood comedy. And it's just like, what happened to that? Like, what happened to that? People didn't have a problem with it.
I'm sure people did, but they weren't as ready to voice their opinion, or they weren't.
I find it hard to believe.
I don't know. Maybe I've selective memory here. I don't know.
It's just wild.
I think we've been so conditioned in recent years to take offense to everything, or to find somebody that should be offended by anything and everything that comes out, and that's kind of where we're at now. It's like everybody has to police the internet to be like, oh no, this can't be out there. We need to do something about this.
I want to pull from what people have told me. I'm not a big fan, or a fan at all for them. I'm not even a small fan. But from what people have told me, is one of the most wholesome movies, and it's a Christmas movie, and that's It's a Wonderful Life. First of all, the movie starts with a suicide. I'm sorry. Like, oh, you don't want to be alive anymore? Let's go back in time and show you some shit, and we'll show you what it would be like and everything. But the scene when everybody falls in the pool, everybody, you know, and then they're walking home. And have you seen the movie?
I've seen it.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank because I don't have it committed to memory.
So this scene is where Jimmy Stewart's character and the girl, I can't remember who it is because, again, I don't watch this movie regularly.
Neither do.
But they're walking home, and she was wearing a robe, and he accidentally steps on it. Now she's naked.
Ooh.
Exactly. And she dives into like this giant bush. She dives like into like a tree, essentially. And he's teasing her about the fact that she's naked. And he's sort of like holding all the chips. And she's just like, please give me my robe. Yeah. And he's just like, let's think about this for a second.
That's another thing we could talk about is the fact that now people are going back and looking at old movies and trying to find things wrong with them because they don't.
Oh, who?
They don't, like, certain movies, certain bits of movies and this and that are not politically correct, or you know
why,
hence the whole Disney coalition where they're just like, we're now looking at all these movies from the 50s and 60s and seeing how offensive they are to certain special interest groups, and it's just like, not special interest but like groups
certain
of
marginalized groups.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And now we have to put out these public apologies. Oh, they were products of their time, and people were different back then. It's just like,
what? People were different back then. They didn't make a big deal out of every fucking word that came out of someone's mouth. Mm-hmm. Seriously, like, it was okay. Like, people are like, "Can you believe that it used to be permitted to smoke in restaurants?" It's like,
because we're so far removed from that now. Yeah,
it's like, so
what?
People also used to wear a tie to get on an airplane.
Yeah, it was seen as an occasion.
Yeah, there were things that used to happen. And it's just like, and yes, like, they're, like, oh, look at, all of like, my brain is so scrambled.
Are you about to explode from logic?
Yes, because logic is, I feel that the real victim these days is logic.
That's a big one.
I truly believe that. I truly believe that. I feel like everyone, like, I don't know. There's something about it that just bugs me so much. And maybe because I have such an emotional investment in old Hollywood. Like, it's just like, it's beautiful. Like, I showed you Sabrina the other day. Yeah. We were watching Sabrina the other day, because it was just like all of these jokes and the funniness and stuff. And it's like, you think about it, and it's just like, whoever would have imagined that this would have been these would have been the jokes.
We are part of that bridge generation. Okay, we are the last of the previous and the first of the next, and it's. T-shirt. There you go. And the thing is, it's like maybe, I don't want to say that you and I are unique, but we kind of are, in the sense that like I've dated people in the past who aren't much younger than me, but like in a sense that like their parents grew up with the same things that like our parents grew up with, but they have these people have no concept of like old Hollywood or old societal norms or jokes or references or things like that. Like, I've tried to show the Marx Brothers to everybody. I've tried to show Abbott and Costello to everybody. I've tried to show, all the black and white things that my parents raised us on to people that, because we grew up with them, we have a soft spot, and, but friends, exes, whoever, like, it doesn't hit them the same way because it wasn't as important to them or maybe their families. So there's no attachment there.
But it does make me wonder, like, people who are unaware of the comedy of yesteryear, so to speak, right? The idea of, you could, if we were to show these movies to certain people with certain sensibilities now, currently, I feel like it would be met with absolute, like, shock and awe.
Like, we've sat the boys down and tried to show them movies from 20 years ago, and they don't even have the attention span for it.
Well, I mean, you all fell asleep for some of that shit.
Like, I remember when Dad would always monopolize the television. So we always had to be in the room watching whatever he wanted to put on. And eventually, we would either get up and leave the room, or we'd sit there and kind of get invested because it's like, all right, this is on, I might as well pay attention.
Yeah.
And that's what got me interested in a lot of things that he would watch, to where I would then show. But again, it's a different type of person now who, I mean, look at how we watch TV now. Like half the time, if we're not interested, we're looking at our phones every 5 seconds. You know, like if I put it on something that you're not all that interested in, you're looking at your phone. If you do the same thing, I'm looking at my phone. Yeah. Nothing, you know, and I've even fallen into the trap per se of not letting things that I know I enjoy grip me, because I'll put on something I want to watch, and then 5 seconds later I'm looking at the phone and I'm not paying attention, and you know, it's just like, I think that's probably a larger problem.
But
I think we got a little off topic.
We did get a little off topic. When I think, but okay, bring it back around. It's not just, you know, it's not just 80-year-old movies at this point, right?
Which comparatively are wonderful.
They're fabulous.
They're cinematic masterpieces.
They are absolute gold. And
because there was no special effects to work with back then.
But there were some. It's not just old movies. I think about, you know, like my affinity, and we've mentioned it before, but I think about my affinity for like 80s hair metal.
Are we going to start talking about the PMRC now? You were talking about censorship, and that's something that speaks to me directly. Like, I remember seeing all the documentaries about that stuff and thinking, like, why do these parents care? Like, what is the big deal if a kid goes and buys a CD or a record with an expletive, you know, parental advisory sticker on it? And the fucking joke about that everyone pointed out was, you make us slap those stickers on the albums, that's just going to make kids want to buy them more.
But even not specifically that, like I think about, you know, when I was working at the dispensary, and that I would keep it as quiet as possible, because a lot of those songs are about sex and girls and partying and stuff like that. Some of them are about partying and having sex with younger girls.
Don't forget drugs.
And drugs. Don't forget the drugs and everything. All the
drugs.
And it makes me wonder, like, if it's offensive, right?
If what is offensive?
If someone around me is going to be offended because I'm listening to, like, 17 by Winger.
And you're worried about that.
Are
you worried about their reaction?
Not worried so much as curious.
Because that's my take on it, is the fact that like if I'm pulling up to a mailbox and I see the owner of the home standing there waiting for me, like I'm going to tell the phone to pause, because I don't want to have a conversation with another person about something. Like, I mean, I don't know. I could be completely wrong, and that may be a jumping off point. That may be like a conversation starter. But in my experience, 99% of the time, if I'm, you know, watching something or listening to something, it's usually met with a negative reaction, because somebody will have something, you know, sarcastic to say, you know, in regards to my interest. And it's like, I don't want to, I've said this before, I don't want to have to defend myself.
And that's just it, though, is that, like, I don't think that I have any kind of worry or overarching concern for whether or not someone's going to find, you know, my interests or something that I am enjoying offensive. But it would make me curious, because it's just like, how far back do we go? I'm like today, right? Today, not today, but like our current climate and everything. What about that fucking wet ass pussy song? You gonna tell me that doesn't offend anybody?
It offends me a little bit.
It offends me a little bit.
It offends me because it's on the air. That's why.
Right?
Because it's not a good song.
But that's what I'm saying. But yet, like, I could be listening to Jackal, right? A classic. And all of a sudden, there's like an interlude where you can obviously hear a young woman having an orgasm.
I mean, that song was designed, you know, WAP was designed to evoke a reaction. It doesn't have to be.
Why is that reaction more acceptable than the reaction of like Blazing Saddles?
Because it's rebellion. It's exactly what kids were doing in the 80s, just at a different time and in a different genre.
So it's okay for them to rebel, but it's not okay for us to have rebelled.
It was never okay for anyone to rebel, but that's the natural reaction to. It's like Newton's third law of motion, you know, in real time. It's, you know.
But that's just it, is that Gen Alpha, right, doesn't have a problem. Gen Z, Gen Alpha doesn't have a problem with what they find rebellious. But the things that we found rebellious, we need to put a warning on.
Well, we are, you know, essentially the the older generation now. Like,
I don't care.
and you don't have to care, but again, the kids today. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm saying these
The
things.
kids today,
The kids
eh?
today are going to perceive us as out of touch, outdated, and square.
And I don't care if they think I'm a square. What I don't appreciate is them like conflating, the idea that their rebellion is something new. Like, that's just sad to me.
But does this affect you at all directly, or is it just something that you're noticing and you don't like?
It doesn't affect me directly yet. Okay.
Because in this instance, it sounds like you're reacting a lot like I would. It's just like, it doesn't affect me directly. So, what do I care?
It's a point of conversation.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here. We're just having a conversation.
We sure are.
You rolled the die. I picked a
rolled
topic.
the bullet.
You rolled the bullet, and I struck a chord with the topic. But let's bring it back around. Do you think that the Schwartz Awakens will be
a success?
A success?
I don't think so.
No. Do you think that it'll strike with at least like our generation?
I think a marginalized group are the ones who are going to go see it. It's not gonna. Do you
think it's going to be too inclusive?
Probably.
To be funny,
because there's so many options when it comes to media and entertainment now that and considering his advanced age and the advanced age of his his contemporaries, like you're not even going to be able to get as many like parents or grandparents to take their kids or grandkids to be like, hey, Mel Brooks was big in my day. Like, let's go see this because it'll be funny. Because I'm telling you that it's funny, but that's the perception of that person. That's not the perception of everybody.
That's just so. But it's upsetting to a degree.
But the silver lining to it is the fact that Mel Brooks is 99 years old and he's doing exactly what he wants to do because he doesn't have to hold back for anyone or anything. He's at a stage in life and in his career where he can make whatever he wants. Yeah. He can put it out at any time. He can spend any amount of money on it. And if it flops, what the hell is he going to care? He put out a piece of his artistry that he's going to be proud of and enjoyed. Because you read his autobiography to me.
Yes, I did.
Okay? And it was thoroughly enjoyable for me to listen to you reading that while I'm like cooking dinner and stuff like that. Because he's basically just talking about the making of all his movies and his meeting of his wife and his friends and his co-stars
and the creation of his production company and everything like that.
And he strikes me as the kind of guy that, if his works are a flop, well, at least we had a good time doing it.
Yeah. And
isn't that the dream?
I think the most unfortunate thing with this movie, excuse me, I have the hiccups, with this movie coming out is that John Candy and Joan Rivers are dead.
And they were in the original.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a little gut-wrenching for me.
You can't really do, unless you plan to AI or reanimate their corpses. Like,
oh no, they're introducing new characters.
Because what else are you going to do? Like, I read online recently that people were asking if a Everybody Loves Raymond reboot was in the cards. And I think,
no way.
Ray and Brad Garrett were just like, without, Marie and
and
Peter Boyle, Frank,
yeah.
Thank you. Without that, like they and one of the kids, they're gone.
Yeah.
It's like they were a large part of that show.
Yeah.
It won't be the same.
And
that's kind of a disservice to those actors.
And I think that's, a good point with regards to a lot of, sequel art.
Yeah. There are so many reboots and remakes and continuations that just shouldn't be done.
Well, it's the same thing with like certain bands and other musical groups and stuff, that, these members have died and everything. And it's like, oh, are we going to see a reunion? It's like, no, they're dead. It's like, we're not going to replace them. And I think that in a lot of cases, sometimes replacing them isn't poor taste. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I think that if it kind of is in poor taste.
You know, we weren't talking about this directly, but like now that I think about it, I'm wondering if like if Two Fisted Law had continued
Yeah.
with Lance, like let's say like you know we kept going with Lance to this day, and we're still cranking out tunes and everything, and
Yeah.
Jim is off doing wrestling or whatever. But then he passes away, and it's just like
Jim does or Lance does?
Jim does,
Okay.
and it's like so if Jim dies in the same fashion that he did,
Yeah.
you know, does Two Fisted Law continue? Like, do we keep going, or out of respect for him, do we call it quits?
Well, I mean, at that point, it's a different Two-Fisted Law.
It was a different Two Fisted Law from the time he left.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, since then, it has been confirmed that, you know, it would not continue in any iteration be out of respect for, you know, the music and for him and the mark that he left. And,
yeah, but I mean, then in all fairness, then why didn't it end when he left?
Because we weren't ready to call it quits yet. We weren't ready to hang it up, you know? And the thing is, like, most of the people from that scene, still to this day, like, I'd heard from people for years, like, you know, why are you guys still, you know, trying to make it at your age? It's like, we're not trying to make it. Like, we're out having fun, enjoying what we do. Like, you know, what business is it? Like, how could you criticize us for doing something we enjoy? Like, you may think that we're still trying to, like, score a record deal or something, but, you know, that's your interpretation of it.
You're just popular local entertainment.
I'm still trying to make it.
You're still, and you are indeed popular local entertainment.
I'm making it right now.
Making it as we speak. We're watching it in real time. What just crossed my mind? Something just crossed my mind. What was it?
Something about the back of the bookcase.
Put
the candle back.
We're gonna have to
see. That's the only Mel Brooks that I will.
Dead air.
That is the only Mel Brooks classic that I will go back and rewatch over and over because that I've committed to memory. I mean, not that I don't like other Mel Brooks movies, but that one left a mark on me.
Yeah,
that one in particular. Yes, because I love Gene Wilder and Peter Boyle and
I didn't know for the longest time that was Gene Wilder's movie.
Yeah.
I didn't know that for the longest time. That, you know, that Mel Brooks, you know, had you know, taken Gene Wilder from the stage for Blazing Saddles, and then Gene Wilder had the idea for Young Frankenstein.
Like, to me, that is the greatest source of inspiration because it's like, it's, you know, I mean, granted, it's in the same vein, even though this came first, but like as people like Adam Sandler and other movie makers who do everything with their friends, like they keep the same cast of you know, cast and recurring people coming back and just, you know, putting them in new roles. Kevin Smith does the same thing. And, you know, again, whether it makes it or flops, it's just like you are doing enjoyable things with the closest people in your life.
Yeah.
You know, which is why I've maintained, you know, being in so many bands over the last 20 years with a lot of the same people. Because it's just like, I mean, I've been in bands with total strangers before.
Yeah.
But there's no connection. There's no, you know, we don't get the same humor. We don't, it's kind of like, you know, today's generation and Mel Brooks's version of satire and, you know, wit and sarcasm.
I tried when I was in grad school, I tried so hard to find, I mean, I was in grad school for literature, for crying out loud. And I had the damnedest time trying to find anyone who appreciated satire. And I'm like, and on any level, like as far as literary satire went, and I started like sort of branching out. I'm like, well, what about like satiristic movies? And people are like, what are you talking about? And I did bring up the idea of like Mel Brooks's movies, and they were just, you know, and some people were just like, oh, I'm not really a big fan. And it's just like, I don't understand you. I don't understand, because to me, I am not trying to offend anyone right now.
Just do it. Just fucking do it. This is our platform.
To me, to not have an appreciation of this particular degree of this particular art form is a sign of unintelligence. I'm sorry.
I'm so offended.
Sorry, not sorry, but like truly, like if you look at it, and I know people who have watched like Blazing Saddles or History of the World or any other, Mel Brooks movie and everything, and they look at it and they're like, oh, it's funny, and like the jokes, and like the wordplay, and poking fun at people and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I think you get it. You think it's funny, but I'm just like, but you're not quite digging deep enough
to get the subliminal messaging.
Yes, to really see why it's not just a good movie. It's genius.
It's clever.
It's true artistic genius.
And that's just it. If you don't have that degree of intelligence, you're not going to understand how and why his application of being clever in his dialogue is why it makes it entertaining.
Yeah. It does make me wonder how many people have bypassed the 2,000-year-old man bit also. I don't think enough people realize that was a thing. Do you?
Do you?
Do you? Do you?
Do I?
I'm asking you. Have you ever heard the 2,000-year-old man bit?
I don't recall.
Okay, no. So that's one we're gonna have to add that to the list.
Okay, I've been clocked out for quite a while. A lot going on.
It has been a lot going on, yeah. But that's just it. Is that like I feel like even to have a superficial appreciation for something that is bygone, right? Old Hollywood. Old music, like you think about okay, ready? Here we go. Think about the opening to Grumpier Old Men.
The first one or the second one?
The second one, okay? Yeah. I'll be glad when you dead, you rascal, you.
Yeah.
You listen to the lyrics of that song, okay? Now, do you think that would pass today?
I got a funny story about that.
Oh, do you?
So until this past year, like I never gave it a second thought. It was just the song at the beginning of the movie. It's a catchy song, catchy hook, and I love me some old jazz.
Sure.
But then I decided to put it on my playlist at work for when I'm casing mail. And I'm thinking, I can't play this that loud because somebody's going to hear those words and they're going to say something, and then I'm going to have to explain myself. And I'm just like, all right, turn the volume down.
Right.
And then I'm just like, wait a minute. It's a fucking song. Like
the very idea that how could you listen to something like that? That's so he's talking about murder.
But there's a hint of projection in there because we are projecting on other people how we think they're going to react to these things.
Yes,
and we're
this is true.
And like you always tell me, we're psyching ourselves up for something that's probably not going to happen.
Possibly.
I mean, I do it all the time, but
probably. But I would definitely say possibly.
Like again, I have a whole list of things that I want to listen to while I'm doing my work, and I don't want to have to put earbuds in. But
right.
I again don't want to have a conversation with somebody else in the office about my interest. Like they are my interests, and I know most people because I typically get the look of you're the metal guy. You like the mean, loud, growly, rah 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 type stuff because of the way you look.
Yeah.
And yes, while I do like some of that, it's not entirely true. Like I like 1940s jazz.
Yeah.
I like
you like a little Glenn Miller.
I do like a little Glenn Miller. I like Billy Joel and Mark Cohn. I like Bach and Vivaldi. I like fucking the Spice Girls.
You do like the Spice Girls. You do.
How did that fucking song goes to the left? Yeah. If you're having a good time, yeah. It's been 30 years.
You like the Spice Girls, but not enough to remember.
Again, it's been 30 years.
It has.
I've got soft spots for certain things, and the thing is and because we grew up as part of that generation where it's we get it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're geniuses, but we're intelligent enough to know satire when we see it and hear it.
Yeah.
And know when something is meant to be a joke and not intended to be offensive.
Yeah.
The fact that the filter of the next two generations is so incredibly thin, I understand is very, problematic because, they can't take a deep breath and be like, okay, it's entertainment.
Why can't anything just be funny?
Because they have a different brand. They have a much darker brand of humor.
Explain it to me.
They even call it dark humor.
What? Listen, we had dark humor. We have plenty of dark humor. Okay? Plenty. I don't understand. I mean, I will never
I don't understand the lingo either.
Bet.
But are we supposed to? We're not, or is that uniquely theirs? Like, that's what I think. It's uniquely theirs.
I love all of these GIFs and like TikToks and stuff out there that's just like, listen, with these Gen Z idiots and their foolish slang and everything. We grew up with Pauly Shore. So
Pauly Shore.
So, I mean,
there's one for you. Go watch Jury Duty.
We had our moments.
And that is why you elected me. Dun, 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 dun. Jury foreman.
I would have to say, quintessential Pauly Shore would be like either Son-in-Law or Encino Man.
Oh,
do we have to watch?
No.
Man
you made me watch Encino Man.
I'm like, because we have to go watch it, we'll watch it right now.
I thought you were gonna say Biodome.
Biodome was good.
Yeah.
Biodome was good. Biodome was good.
It's funny because me and our wedding photographer went to go see one of Jim's matches where Pauly Shore was there.
Yeah.
Not the actual Pauly Shore.
Was he wheezing the juice?
It wasn't actually Pauly Shore. It was a guy who's gone on to larger things who happens to look like Pauly Shore. And Steve, who's a very big guy, much bigger than this wrestler, kept calling him out to him, Pauly Shore, and then went and got a picture with him afterwards, and he wasn't too pleased.
Yeah.
So, but he's gone on to be on TV, so good for him.
Well, good for him. I don't know. I
Matt Taven.
I think I want to believe that the age of hypersensitivity
is phasing out.
I really want to believe, and I'd like to believe that something of this nature, the Schwartz Awakens, right? 2027, baby. I want to believe that it will not be so hyper-focused, production-wise, on being inclusive.
You want to talk about satire?
I don't mind inclusivity at all. I advocate for it very highly, but not to the detriment of art.
I've seen memes recently that call for bringing back bullying.
Bring back bullying. Did we lose it somewhere?
Bring back bullying.
I'm sorry, did it go somewhere?
But that is a direct response to the hypersensitivities of people at large.
I'm sorry, I think all people do these days is bully each other.
Really?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Are you telling me you don't get bullied? Yeah, no, nobody picks on you at all for the things that you like and appreciate, right? And you're a grown-ass man.
I think what they mean is like bullying in the traditional sense, like just openly brazenly.
What, like stuffing kids in lockers?
No.
I mean, I could back that play.
That's assault, brother. No, that is the satire of it. That is the joke. It's just like people are so quick to complain, like, oh, this offends me, this bothers me, blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut the fuck up and go sit in a corner.
But that's just it, okay? So we have at length, and on this podcast, we did an entire episode about the not jadedness, but like the breakdown of the fact that we are so exposed at this point to foul language, right? That it's no longer offensive.
Nothing's
and it's
taboo
no longer
anymore.
Taboo. So why are we putting a halt to things like, to satirizing culture and things like that, to spoofing? I don't understand. The idea of, well, we can't show bullying because that's, giving people the wrong ideas. We can't have a gun emoji because that promotes violence. It's like, what? There's a bomb emoji. We didn't take that one away.
That's next to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can write in and blame me.
Well, I think this was a good talk, and I think we can, count on a follow-up after the movie releases.
Oh, absolutely.
Hopefully Mr. Brooks will...
We'll see you in 2 years.
We'll still be around by then.
Oh, God willing. And again, if you're out there, call me. The man's 99 and
listen,
you know,
the Japanese
he's a fucking genius.
The Japanese can live into their 120s.
That's where I'm headed. Yeah.
You got to start eating more rice and seaweed.
But this was a good talk. This was a fun one. And for anyone who is listening, thank you for tuning in, and be sure to go on literally any streaming service right now and watch every Mel Brooks movie you can.
Go read his book. That was
read his
If
memoir.
you like to listen, I don't like to read, and I liked that book.
It was very well written. I read the whole thing with his voice in my head. But yes, thank you out there in podcast land for tuning in. Be sure to find us on social media, DT Andy and JJ Star with 2 R's. You can find Tax Collectors and Harlots on Instagram, and Love Hard Art and Coat of Arms Tattoo. We love all of them. And go to our website, thattalkingpodcast.buzzsprout.com, and you can send us a text message and conversation starters, concerns for our well-being, that kind of thing. You can also become a supporter of the show for as little as $3 a month, and that goes directly to us so that we can keep putting out grade A content like this. Do you have anything to plug?
No.
Nah.
I'm just waiting for the outro.
Yeah, and yeah.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, baby. From the 3 of us at That
I know you so well.
From the 3 of us at That Talking Podcast, I'm JJ Star.
And I'm Downtown Andy.
We'll talk to you later.